Okay, last time we were seeing, right, when we were printing, then it was printing the none also, right? So what we were checking last time is that, so we have created this class which has a constructor inside it, and then two methods M1 and M2. And when we were, doing this print statement, then it was, printing whatever is there inside this. Okay, let me uncomment this and run it again. So what was happening is that, so after printing whatever is there in the method, it is printing none also, right? And then we have, uh, while closing the last lecture, I have asked you to look into that, into this particular problem, why it is printing none, right? Anyone has any idea on it? Okay, let me tell you why it is happening. So the thing is that, see, the print state, the M1 method, which is, provided over here, is, one second. The print statement inside this M1 method, there is only just one print statement, right? And there is no return type. So what is happening? So we are calling method M1 through ref1.m1, and then we are putting it inside print method. So if I'll comment this out, and if I'll just use ref1.m1, I'm just calling the methods, and I'm not, putting this statement inside a print method, print function. So when I will run this in this way, then it is printing whatever is there inside those methods. But if you know, I call this method M1 or M2 or both, and I'm, putting these statement ref1.m1, that is the calling statement, inside a print method. So this you cannot do in Java, right? In Python, you can do that. And when you are, putting this method call inside a print method, it will basically print or do whatever is there inside that particular method. And then at last, it will, print the return type of that particular method. So the return type of this particular method here is, it is not returning anything. Hence, when I'm running it, it is just printing none as the return type. So this is why it was printing none. So just remember, if you'll just do a direct call ref1.m1, it will, print whatever is there inside those methods. Otherwise, if you are using the print statement, and then inside the print statement you are calling these methods, then it will print the additional none also, right? Okay, now let's proceed further. So now what we will do, we will see some of the Python inbuilt modules and some of the important functions that those functions, or uh, I mean the usual utility that these modules provide. So useful modules is something that we will be studying in this lecture. Yeah, so first is the math module. Okay, so in math module, uh, we will see, first we will see the uh, constants that this math module provides. So useful constants, then rounding of the numbers we will see, and then we will see how we perform the power and root related functionalities or functions, and then we have exponential and logs related usage, and we have trigonometry related functionalities also in this. And then there are some, number theories related concepts are also there in math module. And then we have hypotenuse usages also. So let's see these one by one. Yeah. So, so math module is something which comes as part of standard Python library. That means that you have to just use import math and you are good to use the various utilities and various functions inside this module. Yeah, and explicit installation is not required using the pip command because it is a part of Python standard library. So first thing is what we are going to see is the important concepts. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So some of the important constants inside math module is pi, e, tau, inf, nan. Let's see one by one. So let's say if I'm using print statement and I have imported math modules. So I'll do math dot. If I'll do, I can see what all I can basically this particular math module, what all functionalities it exposes. So if I'll use math dot pi, so pi is a constant, and if I'll run this, it will print the value of the pi, which is 3.1415, and so on. So this is the first constant, useful constant that we can use when we are doing math operations. Then second is math dot e. So math dot e is basically the exponential, I mean the value of e. So when I am going to run this program, it will print the value of e, which is 2.718, and so on. Next is math dot tau. So tau is nothing but 2 into pi, right? 2 pi is tau. So if I'll run this, it will print 6.2831 and so on, which is 2 times the value of pi. So the next constant that we are going to see is math.inf. So INF is basically something which represents infinity. So when I'm using this math.inf, so it will basically represent a very large value. And to represent a very large value or an infinity value, we basically use INF constant. And next constant that we can see in math module is NaN. NaN is not a number. So it basically represents invalid or undefined result. So if I'll run this, it will just print NaN. So NaN and INF are something which is a textual representation of infinity as well as not a number. So these are some of the important constants that math module provides. Now, okay, this is something that we have done. Now, next comes the simple rounding. If we want to do simple rounding of the values using the math module, so how do we do that? So let me define two variables. First is x equal to 4.7 and then y equal to minus 4.7. Okay. Now the first function that we use to do round off is math dot ceil. So what does math dot ceil of x do? So math dot ceil of x will basically give the ceiling value. So ceiling value means, let's say this is 4.7. So this is, let's say number system is, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, and so on. And similarly here it is 3, 2, and like this it is going, right? So 4.7 is something which will lie between 5 and 4, right? And you can consider this particular thing as a floor and this particular thing as a ceiling or seal. So it is synonymous to floor and ceiling of a room. So when I'll do seal of x, which is 4.7, so ceiling basically it will basically print 5, and when I'll do the floor of 4.7, it will basically print 4. So if I'll run this program, it will basically print 5, right? And floor, as I told you, if I'll do floor of x, it will print 4, right? Now there is something uh, which is known as trunc, trunc. So trunc will basically just truncate anything which is decimal, and out after decimal whatever is there, it will just truncate it simply. So when I run this, it will print 4. Now let's see the ceiling, floor, and trunc function on negative value. So if I'll put y here, so ceiling of 4 will basically be opposite what we were seeing in the positive numbers. So when I'll run this, it will print -4, because higher negative number is lesser than the lower negative number. So that is why it will behave in a opposite way as it was behaving with the positive number. So math.floor y will print -5 in this case, and then if I'll use trunc, it should print -4. So this is about simple rounding inside using the math module. So we have covered useful constants and rounding. Okay. Now let's see the power and roots related functions. So we have something known as sqrt function. So math.sqrt, if I'll do, and if I'll provide 25, and if I'll run this, it will print 5.0, which is the square root of 25. So output is always a float value because square root. So this is a perfect square, right? So that is why, instead of printing 5, we are printing 5.0, because instead of that, if I'm, trying to find the square root of something which is not, which will not come as a perfect square, then in that case, it will show the result in float. So that is why the square root sqrt returns result into float format. Next one is POW, power function. What does it do? POW, if I'm using, it accepts 2 parameters, or it accepts 2 arguments. Let's say if I'm giving 2 and 3, it basically represents 2 is to the power 3. So when I'll run this, it will print the output as 8.0 again in the float format. It is printing 8.0. Then, we have one more way of, printing powers, right? Without using math module, correct? How we have done that in past 2, and then using 2 asterisks and then the number, and then when we'll run it, it will basically print the output in the numeric format. It's not in float, but when we use the math POW function, it basically prints the output in float format. So this is uh, okay, this we have covered. So these three things we have covered: useful constants, rounding, power, root, and next thing is exponential and logs. So exponential and logs, let's see that. So let me define a variable x equal to 2, and then we will use exp function. So math dot exp of x will be basically, let's say, okay, if I'm giving 2, so it will represent e is to the power 2. So if I'll run it, it will print that output, 7.338. And then we have log function also. So log, if I am giving log of 10, so log of 10 means ln of 10, ln of 10. So this is something that you might have studied in your mathematics, elementary mathematics. So when I'll run this program, it will print ln of 10, which is 2.3025, and so on. Now, we can, so ln basically uh, have a fixed base, right? But if you want to define a base of the logarithmic calculation that we are doing, so let's say if I'm giving 8 comma 2, it means I want to do log of 8 with the base as 2. So this is how we define base of the logarithmic calculation that I'm doing. So it will basically print 3.0. So this is a basic of logarithmic and exponential in the maths module. Now, next one is trigonometry. So trigonometry math function uses radians instead. So radians, what are radians? So radians, you might have seen sine uh, pi by 2, something like this. We denote, right? Pi by 2, sine pi by 4. So these particular things we basically call this into the radian format. So instead of sine 90, sine 45, so math function basically uses the radian format in trigonometry function. So let's see how it works. Let's say I'm using print and math function I'm using, and I want to calculate sine value, sine of, let's say, math dot pi. So pi, again, math dot pi means math dot pi means 180 degree. I mean, in radian we define pi, right? Let's say math dot pi by 2 I am doing. So it means I am doing sine, or I want to calculate sine pi by 2. So sine pi by 2 means sine 90, right? And sine 90 is 1, correct? So when I'll run this program, it will print the output as 1. So, I mean, this is how you can use trigonometric functions in using the math function. Now, we have something known as inverse trigonometric function also. So what is inverse trigonometric functions? Let's say I want to calculate what is the equivalent of what is the angle for which the value of sine becomes 1. So a sine I will write. A sine basically denotes the inverse calculation of inverse trigonometry. So if I'll run it, it will print pi by 2. So the value of pi by 2, let's see that. What is the value of math dot pi by 2? It should come equal, right? Okay, see, math pi by 2 is 1.5707, and this is inverse trigonometric function, which is basically yielding the result as pi by 2. So this is how you use trigonometry functions or trigonometry using math functions. And then there are some ways to convert there is a way to flip between degrees and radians. How do we do that? Let's say I want to print the radian. So, okay, radian equivalent we have already seen. Let's say I want to print the degree equivalent of math.pi. Math.pi means pi ka equal. What is the math.degree? Uh, okay, is not coming here. Degrees. Math.degrees of pi. So pi, math.degrees of pi, if I'll do, it should basically come as 180, correct? So this is how we uh, convert or flip from radian to degree. So this is about the trigonometry using the math function. Then we have, number theories also. So number theory means uh, GCD, LCM that you guys used to do, right? Let's say if I want to do the GCM, or let's say LCM I want to find. So LCM is something which we have as a kid, which we have calculated a lot. So if I want to know the LCM of number 12 and 18, so I'll just use LCM function from math module, and it will give me 36 as the result. So this is about number theory. Then we have something known as hypotenuse. So hypotenuse is it is basically used to do several things. So first of all, it basically calculate hypotenuse. So hypotenuse you might have already known, right? So Pythagoras theorem, what we have studied. So there we basically calculate hypotenuse. Then second thing is basically you calculate the length of the vector, and then you basically calculate Euclidean norm format. So these are more valid into the machine learning. So let's see that. What does it do? Euclidean norm. Okay. Okay. Let's see the first one. So let's say, so we have a right angle triangle, right? So let's say this is 3, this is 4. So this particular thing is the hypotenuse, right? So it is 3 square plus 4 square ka overall under square root, right? So when we do that, it basically calculate this as 5. So this is what we are going to see using Python. So we will use math dot hypot hypot, and then hypot may I will give 3 comma 4. So when I'll do that, it will just print the hypotenuse. Second thing is the length of the vector. So uh, the length of the vector. Okay, before length of the vector, let's see Euclidean norm. So Euclidean norm is basically, let's say we have three values, x1 comma x2 comma x3. Then the Euclidean norm for x1, x2, x3 is x1 x1 का square plus x2 square plus x3 square, and then we will do overall under root. So it is like calculating hypotenuse of the triangle only, but it's just that we have more than 2 points. So again we'll be using same function, but here as a parameter or as a argument I can have more values, something like this, right? So when I'll run this program, it will basically do 3 square plus 4 square plus 5 square plus 6 square plus 7 square plus 8 square, and then whatever is the result, it will just square root it. So it is this. So this is known as uh, you know calculating the Euclidean norm. Now third thing is the length of the vector. Okay. So let's say I have a vector. So this is a vector, right? Now this vector, this starting point, the coordinate of this vector is uh, x1 comma y1, and then this is x2 comma y2, and I want to calculate the length of this vector, right? So in order to calculate the length of this vector, I will basically do x2 minus x1, and then okay, so there is a way, right? So first of all, I will calculate the resultant x coordinate, which will be x2 minus x1, and then I will also calculate the resulting y coordinate, which is y2 comma y2 minus y1, and then I'll just simply calculate this particular hypotenuse. So if I'll draw vertical and horizontal line, so it is like, so this particular thing, the length of the vector behaves like a hypotenuse of this particular triangle that we are forming, right? So what we will do in order to calculate the length of the vector, so let me define x1 comma y1 equal to 0 comma 0. This is starting coordinate. X2 comma y2 equal to 3 comma 4. And if I will basically calculate, if I want to calculate the length of this particular vector, so I'll do math dot hypot, and then inside hypot I will do the first parameter will be x2 minus x1, and then second parameter will be y2 minus y1. And if I'll just run this program, it will again calculate the length of the vector, which will come as 5.0 in this case. So this way we are using the pure geometry, coordinates, and we can provide these coordinates as x comma y pair, and then we can calculate as per these coordinates, we can calculate the length of that particular vector, right? So these things are done. So math module is done. Next module that we will see is random module. Okay. So basically random module, we will see a couple of things in random module, right? The first thing is printing, float number between 0.0 to 0.1. The next thing we will see is printing any random, float number between printing float number between any two, float number range. So let's say A comma B. So printing any float number between A comma B. Then printing, integer, any random integer between A comma B, and printing integer range. So integer range, when I'm talking, so integer range means more than one integer, and that too between A comma B. First of all, let's see these four, and then we will move forward. So in order to use random module, I'll do import random, and then what we are seeing is the random float number between 0.0 to 1.0. So if I'll do print random dot random, so when I'll run this, it will print any number between 0 and 1. So if I'll run it again and again, it will just print the number between 0 and 1 only. I mean the float number. Cool. Next thing, let's see, we want to see how we want to print a random float number between A comma B. So A comma B can be positive also or negative also. It depends. So let's say if I want to print any number between any float number between A comma B, so I'll use uniform function. Uniform function, and let's say I define that I want to print any random number between 2 comma 9. If I'll run it, it will print any float number between 2 comma 9. It can be minus 2 comma 9 also. So it will print anything between minus 2 comma 9. Okay, see, it printed minus 1.14 also. And what happens if first thing I'll give 9 and the second number which I'll give is lesser than 9. In that case also, it will just consider, it will keep the limit intact. So you can give the, lower limit or higher limit interchangeably. So this is about printing a random number, float number between a range. Now let's see how do we print random integer between A and B. So let's say I want to print a random integer between 2 and 9. So instead of a uniform function, I will do rand, R-A-N-D, I-N-T, rand integer that represents random integer. If I'll run this program, it will print a random integer between 2 and 9. Okay. Now, let's see the fourth thing, which is printing. Okay, these three things we have seen, right? Now let's see how do we print a integer range between A and B. Now in order to print integer range, so I'll use rand range function, rand range, and then let's say I want to print the range between 2 and 9. So if I'll run it, uh, one second. One comma, and if I'll give okay, why it is taking the just one number. If I'll give third parameter, again, it is just printing one number. Ideally, it should print a range. Okay. Why it is printing just one number? Any idea, anyone? Okay, let's do one thing. It is supposed to print a range. Let's query it in ChatGPT itself. Why it is printing that?
Do we need to use any loop? No?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay. So it will not print a range of number. So what it means is, okay, I'll explain you. Let's say if I'm printing, if I'm giving, let's say 2 comma 9. So it is same as a random integer. It will basically do a random integer pick between 2 and 9. If I'm running it, it is basically giving 4. Now, what is happening here in this case is that, so it will print 2, 3, 4. It will basically pick from this number, this particular range. So this is the range it will consider in order to pick a random integer. So if you notice here closely, the step size is 1, right? the step size is 1. And when we are not providing any step size, it will consider as 1 itself. Now, the interesting thing is that, let's say if I'll define the step size. Let's say if I'm giving the starting range as 0 and 100 as the second range. If I'll right now, if I'll run it, it will print any random number, 66, 67, it has printed. Now, if I'll give the range as 10, now what will happen in this case? So I am defining that, boss, you have to pick any number from 0, 1, 2, 10, 20 until 100. The numbers are there, right? So when I'm not providing any range, it was, picking from any of these 100 numbers, any number it can pick. But when I defined the range here or the step size here, so it will say that, okay, consider this as first number, consider the second according to the step size. You just consider second number as this, third number as 20, 30. So you have to basically pick the number between 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 till 100. So initial range I have defined, and then step size I basically define that it has to consider while picking the number. So let's say if I'll give the step size as 9 and यहाँ पे if I'll give 1, so it will basically pick any number which can be a multiple of 9, right? Okay, it should be 0 here. See? So output may you will see that the numbers that are getting printed are the multiple of 9s, right? So this is a fine line of difference between rand int and rand range. So it will not print range. It will basically print any number from that range that we are defining, and that range, the finalized range, will be defined as per the step size. Step size, if we are not defining, it will consider that as 1. So this is about rand range. Now, next thing that we are going to see will be uh, choice, random choice. So how do we basically pick random choice? So let's say I define a dictionary name as colors, not dictionary. Let's define this as a list. Okay. So list may I have red, comma green. Okay, some colors I have given in this particular list. And then from this list, I want to print a random choice. So these are the choice of, variables, or these are the choices or options that I have. And I want to pick a random option out of these, all the available options available here in this case. So when I'll run this program, it will print green, any of these, any of these values from the available choice, blue. So it will basically print random choice in this case. And we have, so this, if you'll see, this is a singular word, right? Choice. And choice is basically picking just one choice. Let's say if I want to print couple of choices out of this. So I'll use plural word here, choices, and then I will give how many choices I want to pick. Let's say if I want to pick 3 colors out of this, so I'll give the value of k as 3. So it will print 3 random, choices every time. Cool. So this is about the random choice. Then next thing we have is uh, shuffling. Okay. Let's see what is shuffling. So shuffling means, let's say this is list, right? So list is ordered. What do I mean? If I'll print choice sorry, colors. And if I want to print color at index 2, so it is a ordered list. It will every time it will print yellow because this is the index 0, this is index 1, and this is index 2. So yellow will always fall at index 2. Let's say I want to, instead of this, uh, I want to shuffle this list. So what I will do basically, I will, before this, let's say, I'll do random dot shuffle colors. So what is happening in this case? So this is the original list. In this line number 5, it will shuffle this original list into any order. I'm not sure about what order. And on line number 6, if I'll print the color at index 2, it should basically print a different color every time when I'll run this program again and again. Let's see that. So right now it is printing white, then magenta, cyan. Why it is happening? Because before printing any color or the element at index 2, I'm shuffling this list. So it will basically shuffle the list, and after shuffling it will just change the order of the elements present in this particular list. So this is about shuffling. So this is the quick functions or functionality that you get in random uh, module. Now we have couple of more modules, that we will cover after break. But before that, let's, start the quiz Menti. So what you can do, you can open your menti.com, and I'll just share the code that you have to enter there. So it is 57135497. So I'll just start this quiz, and after that we'll take break. Okay, I can see just one player ready. I'll wait for other two players. We don't have much attendance today. We have a limited attendance, but yeah, so I'll just wait for other players also. Please open the menti.com, and then you can use the code which is displaying at the top of the screen. Two players are ready. Okay, all three players are ready, right? We have only three participants, so let's start the quiz. Okay, the first question comes. What's A in this particular def F1 asterisk A? So the correct answer is arbitrary parameter. Okay, let's go to the leaderboard and see who is leading the charts. It's Clippy. Okay, now let's go to the next slide. So here comes the second question. What's A in def F1 and double asterisks? So everyone has answered it correctly. Let's go to the leaderboard to see who has answered it fastest. Clippy again. Okay, let's go to the third question. Which statement is false about global variable or keyword? Okay, the correct answer is global variable has high precedence than local variable inside a function, which is a false statement. It is other way around. Anirudh had answered it fastest, but still Clippy is leading the charts. Okay, here comes the fourth question. What's the correct way of creating object in Python for class ABC? Oh, no one has answered it correctly. Okay, so the correct way is the second one, right? So other two ways are basically creating the object. So this is the syntax of creating object in Java. Okay, let's go to the last question. Okay, all the players are ready. So here comes the last question. What's the correct way of defining constructor of class ABC in Python? The correct way is the option number third. Okay, let's go to the leaderboard to see the final score. Cool. So Anirudh is leading the chart with 2396 points. Cool. We'll take a break, 10 minutes break then. And we'll, see other, important modules, Python modules. And tomorrow we will be covering NumPy, Pandas, and Matplotlib, and other data visualization library. And by tomorrow we'll be wrapping Python. From next week we will be starting machine learning. So I'm just starting the timer. Okay, so next thing, next module that we will be going to see is collections module. So we have different classes inside the collections module, which are counter, default dict, DQ, named tuple, ordered dict, chain map. But one of the most important class inside collections module is counter. So we will be going to see the counter. How do we basically work with the counter class? Now, so counter is it's basically is like a dictionary for counting hash table objects, so character, words, number, etc. So let's see directly in PyCharm how does this work. So what I have to do, so from collections, what I have to import, I have to import counter. And then let's say if I take the example of a string. So let's see, I am doing C counter, and inside counter as a parameter, as a argument, I am giving uh, Python. Okay. And what I'm doing, I'm just simply printing C. So when I'll run this program, so it will basically print a dictionary. So the C is a reference variable basically, and counter is a class. So you are just creating the object of the counter class, right? And then you are printing, you are passing the Python as an argument inside, while creating the object of this class. So it will basically, behave as a dictionary, dict only. It's just that when you're printing the final value of C in the representation, it'll just use the counter, right here, counter. So if I'll do type of C, so it will print the class collections.counter. So just remember that C or the reference variable or the object of the counter that you are creating, it's like a dictionary. So it will basically in the terms in the string, it is basically printing each character number of time it is appearing in this particular string. Let's say A, B, B, C. If I'll use this string, so it will tell that A is appearing 3 times, B 2 times, and then C 1 time. So this is how we use that in that on string. Let's say if I'll use this particular thing on list, let's say I have a list of elements like this, and if I'll run this program, so it will tell how many times a particular element in this list is repeating. So 1 is repeating 3 times, 2 is repeating 2 times, 3 is repeating 1 time, and similarly 4 is repeating 1 time. And we can use that we can use this on set also, but set, as every element is unique in a set, so eventually the output, even if you are providing these repeated values, but a final set that it will consider, it will just consider one value, because set is a collection of unique data types. So no matter what you provide inside a set, each element will repeat 1 time only in the output. See, 1 is repeating 1 time, 2 is repeating 1 time, 3 1 time, and 4 1 time. Something more which this counter basically provide. Let's say that we have a number, we have a list of numbers 1 comma 1 comma 1 comma 2 comma 2 comma 3. Now there is a function or a method rather here in this case, Before that, I'll create C equal to counter of this particular list, and then in the print statement, I'm using C dot most common. So most common, if I'll provide one, so it will provide the most common top one most common element appearing. So if I'll run this, uh, it should basically print one as the output, top one. If I'll provide two here in this case, and if I'll run it, it is basically what it is doing. I don't know why it is behaving very weird today. Hmm. So
It's taking your argument and counting it and sending.
sorry.
It's printing the argument which is given,
Hmm.
and then it's telling the counter of that how much times appearing. So if you put one as an argument, it will tell you one is appearing three times. If you
Yes,
put
yes,
two,
yes, 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 correct. So what does it mean is that so top two, so it is basically giving top two most appearing. So top two is one is appearing and two is appearing. So these are top two items, top two elements. So it has mentioned one and number of time one is appearing, which is three, and then two and number of time two is appearing, which is two. So similarly, last time when I ran this with one, so it will just print 1 comma 3 means 1 is the top one or the the most common element, and then number of time it is appearing. So this is how it was basically printing the most common element that is appearing in a particular data structure. Dictionary wala part, even I am still surprised why it is not printing the same out. I mean the expected output, but yeah, I'll come back on that particular part. The next library is OS library. Fine. So OS library is very important library. Not library, basically OS module. So OS module, let's see how we can use different functionality inside OS module. So for using OS module, I'll just do import OS simply. And let's say I want to know the operating system. So print OS dot name if I'll do, and if I'll run this, so it will print NT. So NT is for Windows and POSIX, POSIX is for Linux and Mac. So my system is Windows machine, so it is printing NT. Now there is something known as current working directory. So for that I'll do get CWD. So OS dot get CWD when I'll do, so it will just print the current working directory where this particular Python workspace was created. Then I have something known as CD, which is change directory. So right now I'm into T Gen AI training batches A2G builder batch, and so this is a whole path. Let's say I want to just change my directory to this particular directory. So what I will do, I'll just do print os dot chi change chdir, and I will provide this. So it has to be forward slashes here in the string. And if I'll run this, let's see whether the directory got changed. You see the directory got changed here. So uh, again, why this particular thing is printing none? So this I have explained you in the starting of the video, right? So chdir basically this is a method which we are printing inside a print statement. So that is why this particular none is getting printed. So none basically will print whenever any function or any method that you are calling, which basically returns nothing. So you instead of that, you might have, directly you should have done os.csdir rather than printing inside print, function. So chdir is a function which is not returning anything. So that is why when you have put that in print statement, it is printing none. So this is about changing directory. Again, there is uh, something known as list directory. So list directory means in the current, current directory, it will just print all the directories under the current path. So list directory, if I want to print under the current path, so os dot get cwd, if I'll do, it will just print, it is like ls minus ltr that you, run. So it will print the directory and the file, whatever is present. And if I'll remove this particular parameter from here, so by default, it will take current working directory. So this was, quick thing about the OS module. So there are more things in OS module, so you can give it a try. So there, I mean, you can create directories also using mkdir command. Then you can remove directories using rmdir, and then there are couple of more things that you can explore on your own. So I just don't want to spend more time on this because we have a couple of more things to cover. Uh, Next is basically the Python modules, packages, and then libraries. So what is the difference between those? Let's see that. So first thing is difference between Python modules, packages, and library. Right. So first thing we will be going to see is Python modules. Okay. So Python module. So basically every .py file is a Python module, right? Now there are two types of Python modules. One is known as script and another is known as non-script. So scripts are those which you can run on a standalone, manner. Standalone manner means from the Python command, if you will run these scripts, so if you will run these Python files, it will run and produce some output. Non-scripts are basically, so you can even run non-scripts also using Python command, but nothing will happen because they are not the intention for those scripts, basically those modules is not to run from command prompt, but the main intention for those modules is to import it in some other modules. So whenever I'm talking about modules or Python modules, just keep in mind it is a Python file that we are talking about. So so this is about modules. Next thing is Python package. So Python package is a directory containing different modules or different .py files. Uh, so let's say I have one directory where I have .py, one .py file, then I have another .py file, and I have couple of more .py file, and I have some subdirectories also which can contain anything, either .py file or some other files also. So this particular directory where I have this this setup will be considered as a package, and this particular directory should mandatorily be having one file whose name is, so you have to mandatorily keep this particular underscore underscore init, then underscore underscore .py. So this as a empty file you have to keep. So why you are keeping? because you want to define your this particular directory as a Python package. Otherwise, it will be considered as a normal directory, but not a Python package. So Python package is uh, a collection of different modules or different Python files. And to make any directory as a package, it should have, underscore underscore init underscore underscore dot py file. And packages can also have sub packages inside it. So this is about Python modules and Python package. Next thing is Python library. So Python library is a directory containing different packages and sub packages. And these are something which you install using pip command, right? So yeah, so this is the difference between uh, the Python modules, Python package, and then Python library. Now let's see some of the rules with these modules and imports. So what happens when you import one module inside another? Let's see that. Uh, okay, let me create couple of modules here, huh? So I will, let's say, create module 1.py file, and then I will create one more Python file, module 2.py file. So in this module, I am writing, let's say, print welcome to module 1. Okay, welcome to module 1, and let's say last line of module 1. Okay, now let's see if we can run this through terminal. Mm, Python -m module 1. Okay, we are able to run this. So what we are doing, so in order to run any Python file, so you will be using Python and then -m and then the name of this particular module, which is module 1. So when I'll do that, it is basically printing, it is running that module, and whatever is happening inside it, it is printing it. Okay, so this is a very simple module. And you know, this, what is this particular module that, so we have two types of modules. One is scripts and another is non-scripts. So this is scripts, right? So scripts you can run on a standalone manner. That means from command line, you can run your scripts, right? Let me create second module. So here in second module, I'm defining one, let's say function f1. And inside this, I'm having uh, printing f1 of module 2. Okay. Now this is a module 2. If I try to run this from command prompt Python -m module 2, you'll be able to run it. No error will come, but nothing will happen because there is no functionality that is happening inside it. So these kind of files you generally call them as non-scripts. So non-scripts are basically meant to be imported in other scripts or other Python files to reuse the functionalities that these modules or these Python file contains. So again, so we have seen scripts and non-scripts, right? So scripts का क्या था? It can run standalone, and then it can be imported also, can be imported in other modules. Non-scripts basically, what are non-scripts? So they can also run standalone, can also run standalone, but produces no output. Okay. and then they are, so these are also, they can also be imported. So this can be imported also. I'll write in this non-script. So basically these both are same, but there is a fine line of difference, is that you can run on a standalone manner scripts. Non-script also you can run on standalone manner, but it produces nothing, and they are not meant to be run on standalone. They are, the main purpose of creating non-script is basically to be imported. So non-scripts basically are file which contains just function and classes and just constant. So Python config modules. So Python config modules are the examples of non-script which basically just contains the constant and the values. So you can, if you run those config modules from command prompt, nothing will happen, no error will come. But if but they are basically meant to be imported in other modules. Okay, so this is the example. Now let's see. Uh, there is one more thing. Okay, there is if F1. Okay, what is this? So if name equal to main, so this particular line we put, why do we put? So it's a magic string. So main is a magic string. We call it as a magic string. So what does it do? It only runs when script is run through command prompt. And if it is not running through command prompt, it will not run. Let's see that. Okay, right now it might look a little bit confusing, but when I'll, explain with more examples, it will get clear. So let's say uh, magic string of module 2. ठीक है? And similarly, I'll put this in module 1 also. Now what is happening? If I'll run this Python minus m module 1, it will run this line, it will again run this line, and it will run this particular method also. This particular part also. Sorry, मेरे को terminal से I have to run, right? So the execution started sequentially. This line executed first, then this line executed first, then it came to line number 6, and it has calculated that if this script is running through command prompt, I'll execute this part. If it is not running through command prompt, I'll not execute this part. Okay. Now comes the rules with modules and import. Let's say I import how do I import that? Import module 2. If I'll do module 2, and if I'll run it now, welcome to module 2. Wait, first line of module 2. Okay, okay. Now what is happening here? Now this is the example which will clarify every doubt. Okay, this is module 1. Module 1 and module 2 is there. So this is module 1.py, and this is module 2.py. Now what I'm doing, I'm importing this module inside this module 2 inside module 1. Now in this case, what happens? It will start executing from first line to the last line, and wherever the import statement is there, so whenever the import statement is encountered, so I'm importing module 2, so it will execute module 2 also line by line. And then after the module 2 execution happened or completes, if you are running that script on a standalone manner, it will run the this particular main part, otherwise it will not run. So what is happening here, if you look closely, so wherever import statement is encountered, so it is encountered at the first line. So what it is doing, so import module 2, so module 2 ko it will run one by one from line 1 to line last line. So module 2 पे जाते हैं, what is there in module 2? So module 2 में we are printing first line of module 2, then we have a function, and then we have a this magic string main, right? So I told you this magic string main will be only called when you are running this module 2 on a standalone manner, right? It will not get called if you are exporting this inside any other module. So this will not execute, right? Because module 2 is being exported inside module 1. So यहाँ module 1 पे at this particular line what is happening, it will execute module 2, complete module 2. तो ये print करेगा, print first line of module 2. ये फंक्शन F1 है, इसको जब तक कॉल नहीं करोगे इट विल नॉट एग्जीक्यूट, और ये वाला पार्ट तो करेगा ही नहीं एग्जीक्यूट बिकॉज यू आर एक्सपोर्टिंग. सो एक्सपोर्ट जब करते हैं तो दिस पार्ट डजंट एग्जीक्यूट. सो इट विल प्रिंट फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ मॉड्यूल 2. सो जहां जैसे ही हम यहाँ पे इंपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, इट विल प्रिंट फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ मॉड्यूल 2. देन सीक्वेंशियली इट विल गो, it will print welcome to module 1, then last line of module 1, and then module 1 को हम कहाँ से रन कर रहे थे, we are running that standalone from command line. So this magic string will execute. So magic string of module 1 will execute. So that is why the output, if you can see ना, so यहाँ पे first line of module 2 it printed, which is coming from module 2. Import यहाँ पे लगाया है, then welcome to module 1, last line of module 1, and then magic string of module 1. Now let's say कि ये import उठा के मैंने first line से यहाँ पे लगा दिया sixth line पे, तो क्या होगा, पहले ये लाइन एग्जीक्यूट. सो एग्जीक्यूशन विल स्टार्ट सीक्वेंशियली व्हेन आई रन दिस कमांड ना, python -m module 1, इट विल स्टार्ट फ्रॉम फर्स्ट लाइन टू लास्ट लाइन इन मॉड्यूल 1. तो सबसे पहले ये प्रिंट होगा वेलकम टू मॉड्यूल 1, फिर ये प्रिंट होगा, एंड एज सुन एज ये इंपोर्ट मॉड्यूल 2 आया तो मॉड्यूल 2 पे जाके इट विल प्रिंट फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ मॉड्यूल 2, एंड देन इट विल प्रिंट दिस पार्ट. लेट्स सी इफ इट हैपेंस और नॉट. ओहो, अगेन, ओके, सी व्हाट इज हैपनिंग. सबसे पहले ये प्रिंट हुआ, राइट, वेलकम टू मॉड्यूल 1, ये चीज. देन इट प्रिंटेड लास्ट लाइन ऑफ मॉड्यूल 1 विच इज दिस, एंड देन इट प्रिंटेड import. जैसे as soon as we are encountering import module 2, so it will go inside module 2, जो जो print कर सकता है, whatever is meant to be executed as part of module 2, that will happen, which is first line of module 2 it will print, and then you will print, it will print magic string of module 1. So this is how the modules, so these are the rules with modules and the imports. Similarly, module 2 ko when we are exporting, it is just printing this part, right, first line of module 2, and it is basically ignoring this magic string. But if I will run this module 2 from command prompt like this, now in this case it will print first line of module 2, and it will go inside this main magic string basically, and it will also print magic string of module 2, and then it will call F1 method also. So if I'll run this, see what is happening here. It is printing first line of module 2, first line of module 2. Then this is just a definition. It will go inside magic string. It will print magic string of module 2. It is printing magic string of module 2, and then it is going in, calling F1. So F1 में जाके there is a print statement which is F1 of module 2. Right? Any doubt?
No, not doubt, but just one question. From module one, can call this F1 function from
Yes,
module one also,
yes,
right?
yes, yes. We can do that. Let's
Okay.
say I have, uh, imported module 2
Mm-hmm.
and I can do F1 here. Uh, module 2 dot F1 if I'll do, and if I'll run this, array, my so F1 of module 2 it is printing.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Before importing, if I'll try to do that, it will print error because module 2 is not recognized yet because this is a functional programming and it is interpreted line by line. So unless it is not imported, you cannot call it.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm. So this is the import, rules with the modules and imports. So modules running standalone, whether it's a script or non-script, it will be executed from first line to last line. And if magic string main is present, it will be executed when you are running it standalone. But if a module is imported in another module, then importing module will be executed from first line to last line. Then whenever import of the imported module is there, then the imported module will be executed from first line to last line. And magic string main, if it is present in the imported module, it will not be executed. That also we have seen, right, in our demonstration. Now let's see the types of imports in Python. Okay. Types of imports in Python. First is absolute import. Second is selective import. Third is relative imports. Fourth is import with aliases. Let's see what is absolute import. So this, whatever we have seen, this is kind of a absolute import where you are, absolutely importing the whole module itself, right? So if we'll talk about selective import, okay, let's add more things here in module 2. We will add F2, fine. And let's have a variable a also, a equal to 50. So this module have variable as well as functions. So यहाँ पे when we are doing module 2 and if we were running like this, it is printing first. Okay, it is printing because we are not calling F1 as of now. Now let's say from module M2, I just want to just import uh, F1 function. So I'll do from module 2 import F2. Now what I can do here in this case is that I can just call F2. So here what is happening from module 2, I have just imported F2 and it is behaving as if the F2 exists in module 1 also, in module 1 only. So I can directly call F2 here without module 2.F2, right? I can directly call F2. If I'll run this program, it is calling F2 of module 2. So this is the selective import. Now there is okay. Mm, okay, cool. Now you might be thinking that there are two ways we can do. From module to import asterisk also is one way, and then normally we can do module 2 like this, right? Correct. So in both of these cases, so using this particular selective import, I'm using asterisk sign. So here in this case, it is exporting everything, right? And whenever we are doing absolute import, normal import, this is also, importing everything from module 2. So what is the difference between these two? Can anyone tell? Okay, let me tell you. Let me comment out this one. So when I'm doing the selective import using asterisk symbol, so what I can do, I can just call any function or variable from module 2 as if it is the function or variable of module 1 itself. So यहाँ पे when I am calling f1 of module 2, I can directly call f1. Okay. Whereas when I am using just the absolute import, in this case, if I want to use f1, I cannot directly use f1. What I have to do here, I have to use the name of module 2 and then module 2 dot f1 I have to do in order to access f1 function. So this is the difference uh, between the selective import where we are using asterisk symbol, and then the absolute import where we are importing everything. I mean where we are importing the whole module itself. So this is the difference. Then we have relative import also. Let's see if I can show you the example of relative import. Okay, I'll just quickly tell you what happens. I'll just give you the syntax of how it happens or how it works. So something like from dot means the current directory, right? Import the sibling module. So that thing I think we can do here also. For example, यहाँ पे ना if I'll try to do from dot import module 2, if I'm doing, it will work. But again, I'm using the absolute import here, so I have to use import, sorry, module 2 dot f1 I have to do. Then I'll be able to use this. If I'll run this, it should work fine. Okay, it's not fine. Attempted relative with no known parent package. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so parent package should be there. So actually, this is the root folder of the Python workspace. So we have to have one more. Relative import basically works when you have packages, when you are working with packages, different modules inside different packages. So as this is not a package, this is a root project that is defined here. If I would be having more packages here, then we can see how this relative import works. But let me tell you how the syntax of these relative import looks. So let's say we have mm, package 1, which has module 1 dot py, then module 2 dot py, and inside this package we have one more sub package which contains module 3 dot py, and then let's say module 4 dot py. So here let's say inside M2, I want to import M1. So relative import, if I'll see how to use that. So I'll use from dot. Dot means from current package import M1 is something how I will write. And if in M3 I want to import M1, so M3 is one package, in the sub package. So how I'll do from dot means one directory, above the current directory. So current directory is this one, which is represented by dot, and then dot is this particular directory. From dot import M1. So this is how this relative import works. Cool. Okay. Last thing is import with alias, which is something important to see. Let's say import module 2. So I'm importing module 2, but let's say if there is a module with a very big name, right? So every time if I want to call a function from that module, I have to use module 2 dot f1 or module 2 dot f2. But this is a very long name and I don't want to use this long name again and again. So in that case, what I can do, I can just provide a alias name to this module. So I will use as the keyword, and then let's say M2 or module 2, MD2 I'm giving, right? Now what can happen? I can use MD2 dot F1 I can do, and can I have module 2 dot F2? Let's run this program and see. So both way I can use. So alias is basically is used to give you a shortcut name using which you can refer the functions and variables inside the imported modules. So this is about importing modules, the type of imports in Python that exists. And, the rules that we have discussed. So this is a very common confusion point where, people are very much confused about the usage of this magic string, this magic string main, what it do, and in what all situation it will basically get executed, and where in what all situation it will be ignored. So I think it's clear to you now, right? Any doubt or anything basically you want to confirm?
Uh, just about this magic string. So is it a complete block or it can have just one line after that?
It
Can
can
we add
have,
more print statements
yes,
under
yes,
that,
yes.
right?
It is a block.
Complete block. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm. Let's see that. Magic string 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I'll save it, run it, it will print everything. So it's a block only. So whenever we are using colon, after that,
Mhm.
it will behave as a
Mhm.
block.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. I think let me go to the sheet that I'm maintaining. Okay, what we have seen in today's video, um, math module, right? Random module, OS module, collections module, packages module, packages and library. And then we have seen rules with module imports and different types of imports in Python. Right. Today is 29th November. Okay, now we have one more class left where we will be discussing on NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and the Seaborn library. So yeah, so with that we will be covering up or finishing the Python, Python training, and then from next weekend onward we'll start with machine learning. Cool. I think that's it for today's video. Let me know if you have any questions or any doubt to be clarified. I'll be happy to clarify that. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you guys. Have a nice day ahead.
Thank you.